When we think about what ends marriages, our minds usually jump to the big stuff: cheating, major betrayals, or explosive arguments. But the truth is, it's often the tiny, everyday misunderstandings that quietly chip away at a relationship until it finally breaks. Sure, things like infidelity or money problems make headlines, and they're definitely serious. But what about the little things? The ones that seem harmless at first? It's usually the small, repeated moments of disconnect that do the most damage. Let's dig into what these tiny conflicts look like and how they can quietly build up over time. Picture this. One partner leaves their dirty socks on the floor, again. The other sighs, picks them up, and says nothing. It seems trivial, right? But after the 10th, 20th, or 100th time, that small annoyance starts to feel like a sign of disrespect. Or maybe it's the dishes left in the sink, even after you've asked for help. Each time you see them, it's a tiny reminder that your request wasn't heard, or worse, wasn't valued. Then there are the misinterpreted texts. Maybe you send a message, "Let me know when you're on your way," and hours go by with no reply. You start to wonder, are they ignoring you? Did they forget? Are you not important enough for a quick response? Or maybe your partner sends a short, blunt text, "Okay." Suddenly, you're reading into it. Are they mad? Did you do something wrong? That tiny misunderstanding can spiral into anxiety or resentment. Unspoken expectations are another big one. Maybe you expect your partner to remember your anniversary or to help with the kids' bedtime routine, but you never actually say it out loud. When they don't do it, you feel let down and they have no idea why you're upset. Over time, these little moments add up. Each forgotten chore, each misunderstood message, each unspoken expectation becomes a tiny brick in a wall between you. Alone, these things seem minor, but when they keep happening, resentment quietly builds. You start to feel like your needs don't matter, or that you're not being heard. And let's be honest, talking about these things can feel awkward. You don't want to seem petty or start a fight over socks or a text message, so you let it slide. But bottling it up doesn't make it disappear. It just hides it for another day. Then, one day, it all erupts over something silly, like who forgot to buy milk or take out the trash. Suddenly, you're both yelling, but it's not really about the milk. It's about all those little things that were never addressed. These tiny conflicts can snowball. What started as a forgotten chore or a misunderstood text can turn into a full-blown argument, with both partners bringing up months or even years of built-up frustration. The aftermath: hurt feelings, distance, and sometimes a sense that things will never change. If this cycle keeps repeating, it can lead to emotional withdrawal and eventually divorce. Let's look at a few more vivid scenarios. Imagine you're always the one making plans for date night, while your partner just goes along with whatever you suggest. At first, it feels fine, but after a while, you start to wonder, do they even care? Why don't they ever take the initiative? Or maybe you're the one who always remembers to buy groceries, pay the bills, or schedule appointments. You start to feel like the only responsible adult in the relationship, and resentment grows. Sometimes it's about emotional support. Maybe you had a tough day at work and want to talk, but your partner is distracted or dismissive. You feel alone, even when you're together. Or maybe you try to share your feelings, but your partner gets defensive or changes the subject. Over time, you stop trying, and the emotional distance grows. These habits, avoiding tough conversations, ignoring small requests, or failing to show appreciation, can quietly erode the foundation of your relationship. And when these issues aren't addressed, they don't just go away. They fester. turning into anger, bitterness, and sometimes explosive arguments that seem to come out of nowhere. The saddest part? Most couples don't even realize what's happening until it's too late. The little things, left unresolved, become the big things that end marriages. So, what can you do to stop these tiny conflicts from snowballing into something bigger? The good news is, there are practical steps you can take, starting today. First, practice honest communication. This doesn't mean dumping every frustration on your partner, but it does mean being open about how you feel. For example, instead of saying, "You never help around the house," try, "I feel overwhelmed when I have to do all the chores alone." Next, really listen to your partner. Don't just wait for your turn to talk. Try to understand where they're coming from. Maybe they didn't realize how much something bothered you, or maybe they have their own reasons for acting a certain way. When both of you feel heard, it's easier to find solutions together. Remember, you're on the same team. Pick your battles. Not every annoyance needs to be a big discussion, but if something keeps coming up, don't ignore it. Address it before it turns into resentment. And don't forget the power of small gestures. A thank you, a hug, or a kind note can go a long way in showing appreciation and keeping your connection strong. These little acts of kindness build goodwill and make it easier to weather the tough moments. Find ways to share responsibilities and support each other, even in the small things. Compromise when you can, and remember, it's not about keeping score, but about working as a team. If you notice small issues creeping up, address them with love and patience. It's not about being right, it's about being happy together. Catch those little conflicts early, and you'll save your marriage from the big storms down the road. It's the daily effort that keeps your relationship strong. Make time for each other, even when life gets busy. A few minutes of real connection each day can make all the difference. In the next chapter, we'll dive deeper into practical steps you can take to prevent these tiny misunderstandings from turning into major problems, so you can build a happier, stronger relationship, one small step at a time.